Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Chrysan. TK joining us from Tremonti's Meat and Seafood like he does on every Friday here on Sports Shorts. Tomorrow, Sports Shorts Radio will be on the air from 10 until noon. And, of course, LeBears this weekend, busy weekend at LeBears, obviously with a lot of basketball tournaments and conference tournaments and things underway. We know LSU's women are in action today at 5 o'clock at the SEC women's tournament against Georgia. That game will be in the Barstool Sportsbook. You can bet on that. You can bet on college baseball as well. So make sure you check that out. TK joining us over there from Tremonti's today on Sports Shorts. We're going to talk a little bit about, of course, the goings on in the world of sports, the SEC tournament. Today's a big game for LSU's women's basketball, Tommy, because they play an opponent that there's a little history there, a little dangerous.
Yeah, it is. Georgia took them to overtime back in the regular season. LSU ended up winning by 4 or 5. And their seeding's already set. So whether they lose today or they win the whole tournament, their seed's not going to change. But Kim Mulkey made the comment. The goal is to try to win more games at the SEC tournament than they did last year. So they still have some motivation and some reason to play. And, we'll see if they can get it done against Georgia. The games are in Greenville, South Carolina. Probably be a lot of Georgia Bulldog fans there. So it'll be a challenge for Kim Mulkey and her team, scheduled for 5 o'clock today.
So you're saying that she thinks they're number one seed?
No, they're 2. It's already been announced. They're a 2
okay. They already announced it. Okay,
last week they had the reveal thing, and they're a 2 seed.
That's right. They do that different now.
Yeah, they announced the top seed, so you don't do the whole tournament. So they are a 2 seed again, regardless whether they lose today or they win the whole SEC tournament. But it's still going to be lots of reasons to play and lots of reasons for the fans to watch.
What's the reason for releasing it early? Did they give?
I just think get everybody talking about it. They started this about 2 years ago. They call it the reveal of the top 4 seeds in each region, and of course the rest will get filled in. I'm not. I guess it's a marketing thing. I'm not totally sure, Ronnie, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have host sites. Well, I guess they're doing it like baseball, where. The top, but baseball does it a day before. They
do the 8. Yeah, they do the top 8 or whatever. Yeah,
instead of a week before, which is interesting. Obviously, in baseball they find out the day before what are the top 16 teams and what are the regional sites. I guess in basketball a little more logistics or something like that. If LSU goes and wins this tournament, and look, South Carolina clearly looks like the best team in the country. They look unbeatable. But if LSU goes and somehow go weekend, I mean, they would deserve, in my opinion, to be a top 4 national seed if their only loss came on the road against South Carolina in South Carolina, and you revenge that by winning on a neutral site, which is Greenville, South Carolina is not a neutral site, by the way.
Yeah, no. Well, I agree with you. That would be one of the things about why release it early. If LSU does win, say they beat South Carolina in the finals of the SEC tournament, I mean, then you would have to think they would be, a number 1 seed. I mean, gee. But I guess that's the way they do it. And, hey, if anything else, it's getting talk about Kim Mulkey's program and talk about women's basketball that don't happen in a lot of places around the country.
By the way, LSU baseball tonight, a 4-game series, Butler and Central Connecticut State. They'll play them a couple times each today, tomorrow, Sunday, and Monday. I'll be on the call with Lynn tonight. How about this? On DraftKings, and I will find out from Barstool a little bit later over at LeBears, DraftKings has LSU minus 750 to win today against Butler. Okay, here's my question. For those that don't know, so you got to lay $750 to win 100. Okay, I mean, clearly it doesn't make sense. But do we believe there's any chance in hell that Butler is going to win today against Paul Skeens and LSU in Alec Box Stadium? I mean, at some point, isn't the $750 worth it?
I think it is. Butler is 2-5 coming in. Central Connecticut State has not played a game. By the way, they played it today, this afternoon, like 1:00. So,
right,
and it's free
against
admission.
Butler.
It's free admission anytime Central Connecticut State and Butler play.
Right.
Maybe you can't get tickets to an LSU game, but you want to go to the box. You can go out there and get in for free. Then, of course, you got to leave the stadium after the game.
Right.
Now, LSU's going to win these 4 games, Ronnie. I'd fall out of this chair here at Tremonti's if they lost one of these 4 games. And again, a rare Monday night contest based on the travel plans. And Central Connecticut State, when they play today against Butler, that's their first game of the year. Everybody else got more than a handful of games in at the D1 level. So, it's not going to do LSU any favors in the RPI and the ratings and the power and all of that. But it is what it is. There's a chance. A lot of guys are going to play. The bench is going to get emptied in the 7th inning. Probably going to have the 10-run rule in effect. I'd be stunned if LSU loses a game.
I mean, look, I would say, look, there's been in the history of, Craig Schilling said it's baseball, anything can happen. I'll give you an example, Craig. At some LSU, when I played at LSU, Southern University, we were getting ready to play Southern University. And I think at the time, LSU was, let's just say 30-0 against Southern, 25-0, 30-0 against Southern. This was circa early 90s, right? And I remember Coach Bertman called us into the huddle before the game, and he says, "Hey, guys, listen, we're 30-0 against the Jaguars. Look, it's, they've never beaten us, but it's baseball. And law of averages say eventually they're going to win one. But not tonight, and look, LSU Southern beat LSU once under Skip Bertman. They beat LSU once under Smoke Laval, and they beat LSU once under Paul Maneri. So they've won 3 times in the history of that. But Southern never faced Paul Skeens. They always played on a Tuesday night when Ronnie Rance was pitching or something, right? But they're going against Paul Skeens, who's arguably a top 3 pitcher in the country this year, on a Friday night against a team that's well rested and has its horses. It ain't happening, Coach. I mean, this is a 1% chance that Butler
less than 1%. Ronnie, one of them Southern games. Remember the lefty? I think his name was Anderson. He beat LSU.
MJ Anderson.
He threw like a million pitches. He ended up umpired. He umpired some of your summer tournaments. Mm-hmm. He's a really cool guy. And I remember when I met him when he was umpiring, I was working one of your tournaments, and I said, "Man, I remember that day you beat LSU." He said I think he told me he threw 190 pitches that day.
Oh yeah,
I think he told me that. So,
it
was his day. I think he picked a couple guys off first, and he was able to say he beat LSU at the box.
Good morning, there, Rachel. I'll tell you before LSU won. Before Southern ever beat LSU, there was some close chances, obviously. And the closest chance that I remember was LSU and Southern baseball played at Zephyr Field. This was the late 90s. It was the Gorilla Ball era. And they had a right-handed pitcher, Southern did, with his last name, like Ramchek or Ram, something with an R for whatever reason. I can't remember. He did not throw harder than 78 miles an hour, Tommy, on his fastest pitch, okay? Most of his pitches were in the 60s and the low 70s. He threw over 200 pitches. The game went to extra innings, and LSU ended up winning in extra innings. It was a Southern home game that they moved to Zephyr Field for the bigger gate and everything. And the home plate umpire was – I don't know if his last name was Kador, but it was a cousin for sure because he was calling this – let me see the screen. Here we go. He was calling. I'm trying to learn how to do this screen thing.
He was calling it way over here.
He was calling this a strike off the plate on the outside, and it was hilarious. But LSU ended up winning. They were very fortunate. It was a funny story about that. At the end of the year, when the regionals were at the box, I'm walking up the steps to go to the press box to do the game, and it's Southern either was in that regional or they were there watching or something. And it was like 4 or 5 guys, and they're like, "Hey, Ronnie, what's up?" And I stopped and chatted with them for a second. And it was a non-LSU game. It was like one of the non-regional LSU games. And there was like 5 or 6 guys sitting around talking, and they were Southern fans. And they were like, how about those Jags? Boy, that was a good game a few weeks ago. They almost got the Tigers, whatever. And I said, I don't know who that home plate umpire was, but he was flat out cheating. And they all went, it's him. The guy
That's beautiful. He was sitting there and you didn't know it. That's great. That's incredible. That's a good one. I like that.
All right, so LSU's women's basketball team has the work cut out for them today.
They're a target, just like South Carolina is, and some of the other great programs. And Kim Mulkey knows that. Look, you got to defer to her. She's been there, done that. She knows how to prepare the team mentally, physically. I mean, this is not a problem for her. That doesn't guarantee a win, but you just defer to Kim Mulkey. They'll find a way to get it done more times than not, and it's going to be a challenge.
The thing I will say is, when they've come out and the seed's already set, and nobody's I just don't know. This reminds me of LSU baseball during its heyday when they would go to the SEC tournament and not necessarily win it, but yet go on and win the national championship. The bigger picture for this program is the NCAA tournament. I could see them losing this one tonight to a Georgia team who already played them very tough. Giant crowd of Georgia fans will be there, just a couple-hour drive away. What's the motivation? I mean, I know the motivation is to always do your best, but they're clearly looking ahead to the next week NCAA tournament in Baton Rouge. I think with this program right now, it's not about winning, getting to the semifinals.
Well, from a gambling perspective, if you can get a line, the value bet is Georgia.
Sure.
The bet is Georgia because they're going to have a lot of fans in Greenville, South Carolina. They, want to avenge the overtime loss.
They've got more to play for.
Yeah, they want to improve their spot seeding in the upcoming tournament. I mean, so there's lots of things involved. So, again, if you're a gambler, and LSU fans, sometimes, you can't bet with your purple and gold heart. You have to bet the best value, which we talk about all the time on Sports Shorts Radio and Sports Shorts Daily. So the value is to bet Georgia. Now, again, I'm not guaranteeing nothing right here, but that's the smart play because it's about managing money and winning money. By the way, Ronnie, how many shirts did you sweat through Wednesday night when LSU played Missouri?
I was just going to transition to that. You talked about, value, and sometimes you got to bet against LSU and not your purple and gold heart. Obviously, we've been doing that all year, betting against the LSU men's basketball team, and we're now 16-5-1. 16-5-1 betting against the LSU line, no matter what it is. Sometimes they've won and not covered. Sometimes, obviously, they've lost mostly the last couple months. That was, sometimes it's fun to sweat a basketball game or a football game, but only if you win in the end. I had at least 3 or 4 minor heart attacks watching LSU basketball Wednesday night. For those that don't remember, the Tigers were at home, final regular season home game of the year, taking on the Missouri Tigers, who at times have been ranked this year. They're a bubble NCAA tournament team. They had a lot to play for. And LSU was up 19 points with 2.5 minutes to go in the first half. 19 points. They were up 15 at halftime. And Missouri came all the way back, and not only did they win, but in the final literal seconds, covered the -3.5 or 4-point spread, whatever you got on tip-off. Now, Tommy got -5 a few days earlier, but they ended up winning by 5. So TK got a push. I got a win because I bought it at -4. I know a couple other people's bought it down to -3.5. Unbelievable. That second half comeback, I thought when they tied it at 59 with 6.5 to play, that Missouri was just going to run past LSU, that they had all the momentum. But they didn't. LSU, to their credit, had about a 4-point lead with a couple minutes to go. And then sure enough, bad shot decisions. Missouri comes back and ends up winning the game and covering. I mean, when the LSU player missed that 3 with about 2 seconds left and Missouri got the rebound, I mean, that was a feeling. I haven't felt many feelings like that in my life, Tommy. It was amazing.
Well, Ron, I was watching a game with some friends at a local watering hole, the Jefferson Lounge, one of my hangouts, and they all like to gamble as well. And I told them that you made a large bet on Missouri, and I told them what I had. So everybody was pulling for you. They were like, TK, we don't care about your 5 points. We're pulling for Ronnie. And then, of course, we called you on the speakerphone when the game was over. So, yeah, there was a lot of sweating going on, but everybody was happy for you, I must say.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I've told you this before. You got to pick a night when you come to the Jefferson Lounge one night and have a cocktail and meet these, 6, 7, 8 guys. They watch Sports Shorts Daily. They all listen to Sports Shorts Radio, and they putting the heat on me. So why can't you get Ronnie in here? I said, we're busy guys. We're busy dudes, okay? You and I are both very busy, but we'll make a point one night that you can pop in. You ain't got to stay but 30 minutes or so. We got to make that happen, though.
Yeah, we'll see when maybe next week for the SEC tournament, whatever night LSU basketball plays, and
that's
it'll be their final game of the year, for sure. They'll get beat by 20, and then it'll be over with. All right, so we got LSU baseball this weekend. Obviously today -750. Tommy, I'm actually going to do it.
No, you're not.
Here's why I'm going to do it. Here's what I'm going to do it. In my DraftKings account. By the way, I won last night. I took Oregon State in baseball. They won 5-4. Over a California team on the road. I have $786 in my DraftKings account. Okay. And you can't bet college baseball in many apps. And when we go tomorrow to Barstool to do our, tomorrow will be at Calandros. Tomorrow will be at Calandros for Sports Church Radio. But whenever we go to Barstool, we always look at what they have on the deal there. But I'm going to put the 786, all of it, just on LSU. I'll win my $100, and I'll have 886. But I mean,
that's a smart play, okay? Because you got the money in there, and in that less than 1% chance that Paul Skeens gets ripped. No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's. Did you watch or bet the boxing match last week with Fury and?
I did not bet or watch.
Yeah. Okay. I actually won that one. I threw a couple $100 on Fury, a real boxer. What else we got? What else? Oh, Major League Baseball, real quick. Want to just get a few more minutes left on this topic. College baseball, when you watch college baseball, the bases are the regular bases, not the big ones, the pizza boxes like they're doing in Major League Baseball. My guess is that next year college baseball will go to the pizza boxes because MLB is saying it's safer. It's better for the umpire. It's safer for the players. If you're hiding behind improving the game, then clearly college is going to follow suit. And obviously they want their players to get used to it when they get to the major leagues. Usually it's the other way around. You'll see the big bases or something at the lower level, and then and the pros will be smaller. But this time around, I'm sure next year they'll go to the bigger bases. They'll vote that in. The other thing is the speed up rules. We're seeing it this year in college baseball. Clearly LSU needed it. The way Jay coaches and calls timeouts and takes long visits and all, it has sped up LSU baseball games by a solid 20-minute a game average, Tommy, maybe even faster. And Major League Baseball, 15 to 20 minutes faster on average. What's been your take on it? You've now watched it for a couple of weeks.
I've watched a bunch of spring training games. First thing, right, I can't tell you how many hits have went between the first baseman and the second baseman in the right field.
Yeah,
because no shift. Also, the speed up rules is helping. I think it's going to be good. I'm one of them old guys, get off my lawn. I didn't want to change, but I think it's going to be good for baseball. And here's the thing, Ronnie, you know this. You played, you coached. I played, I coached. The worst thing that happened to a baseball player is to think, all right? Carl Yastrzemski, the Hall of Famer, said the only time he never thought about baseball is when he was playing baseball. And, now they don't have time to think, which ruins people in baseball. Even, AP baseball, the recreation program down in Ascension Parish. The kids start thinking, pitching or batting, it usually doesn't end up good. So now you don't have time to say, man, is he going to throw me a slider away? Is he going to come up and in? You just got to get in there and play baseball. See the ball, hit the ball. If you're the pitcher, don't overthink it. Just execute the pitch that's called. So I think it's going to make for a better baseball game. Overall batting average is going to be higher because of the lack of the shift. And, the base thing, good point I heard on the other day on the base thing. This is not going to make a guy who's not a good base stealer a good base stealer. This is only for the excellent base stealers who are going to be able to maybe that time, when they show the replay and you see the glove tagging the guy that's so close you can only tell. It's going to make a difference a handful of times a month, okay? It's not going to change anything else. I saw a guy get thrown out yesterday going first to third. Right fielder threw him out in a game I was watching, I believe the Braves and the Mets. But, so, I mean, I think it's good for baseball, and you're right, Ronnie. You hit the nail on it. This is going to trickle down. The colleges are going to go to the big bases, then the high schools, junior college ball, the Texas Collegiate League. I mean, it's all going to end up changing. Now, Ryan, there are some youth leagues around the country. I don't know if you've ever seen this. At first base, there's actually two bases. One's white, one's orange. Have you ever seen that? The batter has to step on the orange bag, which is
in foul territory.
They're trying to avoid spiking. Well, not people out of where spikes no more below major leagues. And collisions, injuries, whatever. So, that's prevalent in some parts of the country as a safety measure. It's going back to safety. We saw the NFL go safety. Everybody's want to be safe.
I actually like that idea. I think it'd be goofy to have an orange base on a Major League Baseball field or LSU field. I get that from an aesthetic look, but I actually like that. When you go to first base, you have to step on the orange bag. It also eliminates people running in the lines and stuff like that too, where you have that interference on a bunt. Did the catcher have to avoid the runner and all that kind of stuff? Makes it easier for everybody to call, particularly at the youth level. And it does make sense. It's not a big difference, and it does allow there to be no collisions, and I think it's a good idea, particularly at the youth level.
Ronnie, 25 years ago, the NFL changed all its rules, shifted everything to make it more offense. Fans want a 42-35 game. They don't want football. They don't want the 10-7 game. Well, baseball now is following suit, but with the lack of the shift, I mean, you're going to see more batting averages are going to go up. Like the Major League Baseball batting average will go up. It's been going down the last 4 or 5 years. When you add in everybody, it's going to go up, and you're going to have more of these, 7-5 games, 6-6. You got to go to extra innings instead of, you and I love the old fashioned 1-0 or the 2-1 game. Both of us being pitchers, we enjoy that more than most people. But, I think it's going to be good for baseball. Ronnie, I go back to the 90s when they first added the wild card in Major League Baseball. When it first came out, I'm like, that's terrible. We water it down too much. Be like the NBA. But then once I had enough time to digest it, I think the wild card has been great for Major League Baseball. I think these rules will end up being a very good thing for Major League Baseball. And the old school guys like me, get off my lawn. Well, forget it. This is going to make the game better, more entertaining. And like I tell people all the time, I don't like baseball. I love baseball. So I'm all about it.
Well, if you're going to make it more offensive minded, if you're going to make the game, more offensive minded at the major league level, then I think it's a good thing that they're speeding up the game too, because obviously it's going to take longer with more offense.
Now, here's a good question from Byron. How will the rule changes impact the comparison stats? Very little. Very, very. You're not going to have somebody go break Ricky Henderson's stolen base record now. That's not going to happen.
But here's the thing, Tommy, with that. Like, what are comparison of stats? I mean, Babe Ruth to now, the game, the bats, the balls, the quality of pitchers, African Americans and non-African Americans. It's like saying, hey, I was a great basketball player in the 50s or 40s when there was no African American players. Like, it's comparison of stats is a generational thing, and it's just fun coffee talk to discuss, hey, this guy in the 50s versus this guy now.
You hit the nail on the head. It's fun coffee talk or beer talk, sitting around with the guys at the watering hole, and you talk about it, and it's fun to do. I was in Hammond, as you know, I'm working the state girls basketball championship. By the way, Walker Ponchatoula game last night, A+. Packed house because we're both so close to Hammond.
Who won?
Ponchatoula they were down pretty much the whole game, that little 4 or 5 point thing, and then they got hot in the fourth quarter and hit some threes finally and hit some free throws, and Ponchatoula ended up winning. Now they're going to lose to Parkway. Ronnie, all right, all you Kid Hockey fans, this Michaela Williams from Parkway, it's up there in the Bossier Shreveport area. First time I saw her play, Ronnie, look out. This girl is the real deal. Now, the next best player I saw There's a junior at Lafayette Christian. She's got an offer from LSU, from Kim Mulkey, a guard. Richard's her last name. Ronnie, how often do you see girls shoot a real jump shot? Like jump shot. I mean, she's got that. So does Michaela Williams. Michaela Williams hit a 3 last night, had to be a 30-footer, drained it, nothing but the net. You know, she had a big night. They're going to beat Ponchatoula, I think. But those two girls, wow, the girl from Lafayette Christian and the girl from Parkway, LSU women's basketball, you got a bright future, trust me.
No, there's no question about that, especially throwing the transfer portal as well. All right, Tommy, tell us about what's going on at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood.
Boiled crawfish, live crawfish. Hey, Mike just told me shortly before we went on here. Next Tuesday, huge boiled crawfish special, like $3.50 a pound. 10-pound special next Tuesday. It'll be all over Facebook and Instagram. Connect with Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Lunch special today. Everybody doing the Lent thing. Fried catfish with crawfish etouffee on it. All the seafood you need for Lent. Of course, they got the steaks, the wine, the bourbon, the sausage, the chicken, the pork, everything else you need. But stop by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I hadn't said this in a while. If you've never been here to Tremonti's, you need to walk in. You'll be blown away about everything that's in here, and the people are great. Big staff here, Wayne and Mike, they all do a great job, and they support the Rougarou. Like obviously, they support Sports Shorts Daily. So stop by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood real soon.
All right, we'll be back on Monday for more Sports Shorts Daily. Don't forget to check us out tomorrow on Sports Shorts Radio from 10 until noon. We'll be on 104.5 and 104.9 FM. Of course, you can download the 104.5 app and check us out anywhere in the country. We're presented each and every week, Sports Shorts Radio, Sports Shorts Daily by LeBear's Casino. Go over there and watch the games this weekend at the Barstool Sportsbook and get the pepper jack cheese sticks. The pepper jack cheese sticks. So good. All right, we'll be back on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Like and share this video. We appreciate your support.